Well, I could see how that was frustrating, but I'm not all that mad about the way the Avs played in this one. Welcome in to the DNVR Avalanche post-game show presented by Bet365. We got Big E and Rudo coming to you live as the Avs lose to the Toronto Maple Leafs 2-1. Their point streak officially comes to an end at 9 games. First, a little fun fact here for you. 124 NHLers that have suited up and failed to record an assist this season. Kelly Sutherland now has more assists than all of them. Just throwing it out.
That was fun. That was fun.
I think you might be a little bit more frustrated than I am with this one. What's your initial takeaway from a 2-1 loss here?
No, my only thing is they were the better team. They didn't get any puck luck, obviously. If you look at 2 goals, they're, Taze puts in his own net.
Yeah.
Not his fault. And Kelly Sutherland just toe picks on the puck. Not his fault. I'm laughing because it's funny because he feels horrible about it 100%. But that's how it went. The Avalanche didn't play a bad game. I didn't mind that. I just, as we saw last game, you sleep for a minute and then, the other team scores 2, right? You know what I mean? You let them back in. And tonight I felt that they slept a little bit on that power play. I did not like the demeanor on that power play. I didn't like the drop of the puck. Forget about the referee. Didn't like, they lost the puck, the face-off. They went down. They were lackadaisical. They were just like, eh. And then next thing you know, boom, it hits the ref, goes there, doesn't make a save on that play. And that's the game winner. And that's why I'm like, that's what ends your streak. That's what ends a little thing. It just shows you that you got to be on top of your game 60 minutes, 65 minutes, whatever it is. You can't take shifts off. And you should have had, your foot on their throat there. You know what I mean? You have a power play, go take the advantage. Instead, forget about the ref. That's part of the game. I'm not, you end up the puck in the back of your net on a shorty. And that's your fate tonight. And that's why I'm a little frustrated. I get mad at their power play when I don't see the fire, the hunger, the hungriness. I didn't see it there, and it cost them. And that's why I'm mad a little bit. Of course, they played a decent game. They played a good game. McKenzie was okay this first 2 periods. I thought he was really good in the third. He found his groove. You could tell he hadn't been playing. I'm not too sure to what level he's practiced. How he's felt. But, all in all, you're right. I'm like you. I'm not that frustrated with it. You keep playing like this and, give credit where credit's due. Wall was really good on the other side tonight. And he made some, very good grade A saves. He did. Give him credit.
I mostly agree. I really have very few problems with the first 2 periods of this game. Third period, not the Avs' best as a whole. Blackwood was fine. He gave up 2 or less. He gave you a chance. Woll was just better, unfortunately, tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
It is what it is. It happens. It took 2 silly bounces for Toronto to score it all. A lot of nights, this game looks a lot different, and there just aren't the overarching concerns right now that there were earlier in the season with the Avs, right? Earlier in the season, it felt like these 1-goal losses were coming a bit too often, but the Avs are coming off of a 9-game point streak in which they've scored more than 3 all but one of those wins, I think. It was the Chicago game where they scored 3 still, but so the Avs have been scoring fine. It's not like this is the recurring problem it was. Woll played great tonight. Yeah, in the third period, I think the Avs probably could have done a better job of generating chances. And sure, But through the first two periods, I'm not saying it was perfect, and we'll get into some of the guys that maybe underperformed a little bit tonight, but really, when you look at the underlying stuff, it's a pretty good game for the Avs. At 5-on-5, the Avs out XG'd Toronto by nearly a full goal, 2.81 to 2.02. Avs scored 0 at 5-on-5 in that regard. Technically, so did Toronto, though, which adds to the weirdness of this game. No 5-on-5 goals scored for either team. You have a power play goal each way, and then a shorthanded goal for nonsensical reasons that we talked about. So it's pretty easy for me to go. Avs played pretty well for most of the game. There's some weird stuff happened. I can throw this one in the bin a little bit. We talked about this a lot on the watch along, though. One thing I really wanted to pick your brain about was those line combos we saw a lot of tonight. I think pretty quickly Jared Bednar felt like the top line wasn't working with Necas and Leckie, which fair enough. I don't even disagree with that. But he opts to put McKinnon and Nelson together for a majority of the game. One, what do you think about that line combo? And two, we'll get into this center depth conversation that we've been having.
I didn't like it. I'm not questioning it. Again, I keep praising that he should be coach of the year, Jack Adams. But I didn't like that. I like the way that it's been lately. I like it. There's a reason why they're 8-0-1. I like the balance. I like the structure down the middle, the strength down the middle. I like that everyone's pretty much chipped in. I didn't like that. I didn't like 11 and 29 together. To be honest with you, I'm like you. Okay, I'm not sure what the numbers are, but for me, it wasn't like outstanding. Where it's like, oh my god, you know what I mean? Like keep those together. I like the balance, and I like the way the lines have been. And there's a reason for that. And again, maybe there was part of the plan the last few weeks anyway to try this stuff anyway. I just felt that after one period, there's no need to do that. You know what I mean? Because you've had that strength the last 8 games. There's a reason you were undefeated. You know what I mean? So then it gave them a lot of. You still had 40 minutes to find your legs to get some sort of groove the way it's been, and we'll never know. And again, and I'm not saying by changing it changed anything. Obviously, it didn't. They never scored a goal at 5-on-5. So we'll never know. But I don't mind that he, tries that. And the question is from you to me is, did you like it? I didn't like it. You know what I mean? So I'm not questioning it. They can, I don't mind that they try stuff. But I wouldn't be like, oh, wow, let me go back to this because I think this is great. I didn't like it. So I would get back to whatever it is that has gotten them, so far. You might see some different bodies tomorrow, right? You know what I mean? Because you're on a back-to-back. Ottawa's a team that's hungry and that needs to win, and they lost to Montreal their last game. And are you gonna bring in some fresh bodies? And I don't know. There's Jimmy, there's Woody, there's I don't know. But I to answer the question that was asked by you, it's more I didn't like it. Do I understand it? Yes. But then again, did it change anything? Not in my book. Ended up losing 2-1 anyway.
Just to throw some numbers at you, the Avs' best possession line of forwards was the Coyle, Lekin, and Necas line. We'll get into that in a second. Just hang on. Their worst possession line was the McKinnon, Lekin, and Necas line. So the top line did not play well. In 5 minutes in the first period, the numbers were bad from that top line. I understand breaking them up. Where this becomes a problem is throughout the rest of your lineup. You don't have the success with the Drury moving up as your center. That line barely broke even. You don't have success with your depth, who technically finished on the right side of possession, but really no meaningful offense was played by that line. It hurts your depth to put two centers together. It just does. And we look, to be clear, I have no problem with a shift where you throw out Brock Nelson for a face-off in the offensive zone and you're trying to make something happen. That I understand. I just don't know that you can consistently keep those guys together and expect your depth to work out. With that being said, I don't know that it will work as a second line long term, but really encouraging numbers from that Coyle, Lekin, and Necas line. even if I personally didn't love Necas' game tonight, and they obviously weren't able to produce a goal, that was really good possession.
Oh yeah. And for the record, I'm like you. Somebody in chat was just saying like, let's relax. They'll be just fine. Not once. I mean, they're gonna come out of the West. I'm very,
Yeah,
very calm. So I'm not panicking. We're talking about tonight. This is what we're doing right now. We're talking about an hour pod here on what we just saw, what we just witnessed, what we just feel about this past game. I'm not worried about the Avalanche by any means,
same.
and not at all. Um, I'm just telling you what I would have done differently in this game. You know what I mean? And again, it's fair. It's a fair question. Did you like it? You know what I mean? Like the switcheroo, and I didn't like it. I would have stuck with what's gotten me to. We get mad sometimes because it's like, my God, it's been 5, 6 games. They haven't scored a goal, and I mean, nobody has besides the top line, and we gotta need some changes. Now, this is for me, uh, 8-1 run. So you didn't need to after one period.
Yeah,
I don't care how bad it was. It wasn't that bad. You know what I mean? Like you don't need to switch it up. That was my only complaint tonight. I'm not. Uh, I love the coaching staff. I think that's one of the smartest coaching staff, and I'll keep beating the drum on. Yeah, he should win the Jack Adams. Absolutely on the year like this year. Um, but with that said, yeah, my pulse is really good. Like I'm not by any means panicking. You go 8-0-1, you're 8-1-1 the last 10, then whoever's paying you shouldn't be in that sport. You shouldn't watch that sport, you know what I mean? Because it's not good for you. You know what I mean? So this is a good run the Avalanche are on. This is a good team. They played well tonight. They had bad bounces. The other goalie played good. And we were just talking about, there was a lot of switcheroos of the lines tonight, and that's a big story in the game. It didn't end up doing anything. It didn't help, and in a sense that the puck didn't go through a wall. You know what I mean? And
yep,
but overall, yeah, there's no panic here by any means by me or you. So very
yeah,
calm.
yeah. Look, you want to be frustrated with the result of this game? Fair enough. You want to be frustrated with
Absolutely.
that third period? I think that's fair. But at the end of the game, the Avs had 39 shots on goal. 29 of those came at 5-on-5, 14 high danger chances at 5-on-5. Yes, that second power play was bad. They also scored on the first one. So it's not like their power play was a complete disaster tonight. It,
No.
Toronto's a good team. They got good bounces. Their goalie played well. Good teams win hockey games sometimes. And, you tip your cap. If this was a 7-game series, I wouldn't feel bad about the series if I was Colorado. I would say, hey, we played pretty well. We probably beat them most nights with that play. Some stupid bounces didn't go our way, and we weren't able to overcome them. Fair enough. You'd love to see the Avs overcome some of that adversity, but we're not at a time of the season where I'm like worried about testing the Avs overcoming adversity. Even if they couldn't do it tonight, they've proven time and time again this year that when the chips are down, they do a pretty good job of putting themselves into a spot that they need to be. On the other side, look, it's a funny night. I guess I'll save this for a minute. But before we jump into our break, let me ask you this. Who do you think was the best Av tonight?
For me, Sam Malinsky, I love this game. I thought he was
Fair.
awesome. I thought he was sharp. I thought he made great outlet passes. I thought he jumped up in the play at the right time. From what he was asked to do, I thought he was, up to par of where he needs to be. And again, Josh is going to be out 3, 4 weeks, and I think it's important for a guy like that. You know, what I mean, to really keep playing the way he's been playing. He broke up that 2-on-1 play there. Awesome. I like this game tonight. If that would be him on the backhand up front. I mean, I don't know. I don't know who would be my favorite. I
I
like
think
the bottom
Malinsky's
of the
fun.
lineup guy. Up front, I'm not sure who my answer would be, but yeah, Malinsky I thought was awesome on the back end, and overall, as an Ab, he was one of their best.
And I think the key for me with Malinsky is the defensive end. Multiple great defensive plays from that guy. You want a lineup spot in the playoffs? You better be able to play in your own zone as a defenseman. And he did a great job of that tonight. So credit to Malinsky there. We do have to pay some bills here before we get into these other conversations that I want to jump on. So let's get into that right now, as we are brought to you by the Colorado Lottery. You can get your tickets right now. The limited time scratchers for the Denver Nuggets, they're playing right now. And maybe you go get a scratcher. Maybe the Nuggets will win, so you at least get one Colorado win tonight. The Denver Nuggets limited time scratcher has a grand prize of $50,000 and 25 prizes of $5,280. The Mile High 5280 helps with, Nuggets kind of play at Mile High. We're kind of in Colorado, in Denver, so you can jump in with that. It's a high number of high-value winning experiences when it comes to the Denver Nuggets scratch ticket. They're available now. Perfect if you're a Denver Nuggets fan. You can even get it as like memorabilia, but also if you like scratchers, go have some fun with the Colorado Lottery. Jump in with them today and get your Denver Nuggets scratch tickets today. All right. Also brought to you by the wonderful folks over at Toyota. Jump in, Toyota. They're the official vehicle of us here at DNVR. They got a vehicle for everything, including hauling around refs that have fallen over to drag them out of the way of pucks. They could do that. They got hauling capabilities. Jump in, 17 all-wheel drive vehicles, 16 different hybrid vehicles. They even have hybrid trucks if you are a truck guy like the iForce Max Tundra. So they've got you covered there. Jump in with them. They've got SUVs, sedans, crossovers, whatever you might need. Toyota, the official vehicle of the Colorado Avalanche, which you can find at your Front Range Toyota stores, including AutoNation Toyota, Rapid Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain State Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Again, Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. Let's go places. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. This is a weird conversation because you look at the night, the Avs only scored one goal. Nathan MacKinnon gets the primary assist on it. Your power play comes through, which is your top guys. I really don't think the Avs' top guys were that good tonight. I thought Nathan MacKinnon was just okay. I thought Necas was kind of actively bad. Lehkonen, not very noticeable. I actually thought Nichushkin did pretty good. His underlying numbers are pretty good. I know you didn't love some of his game, so I guess what are your thoughts on the top guys? Is this a one-off game where off night, or is this something specific that they can work on to improve?
No, I mean, for me, it was more like, when we talk about goalies, like a timely save, I just felt there was a couple battles in the last 3 minutes where timely battles needed to be won. They weren't. Not just Val, it just happened to be Val a couple times. That's why I was picking on Val. Not his overall game, but more towards the end there. Maybe what I'm more frustrated about, and you're going to laugh what I'm going to say because you kind of say it all the time. I was kind of waiting for a superstar play, and, I didn't see it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, right? I mean,
I
we're
agree with
so
that.
accustomed to that. You know what I mean? Like it's Kale or it's Mac or you know what I mean, and we didn't get it. You know what I mean? And that's okay. We're spoiled in Denver. You know what I mean? We are. You know what I mean? You get some of the best players. That doesn't mean that those guys were horrible tonight. I'm saying this: you didn't see that superstar play. That all of a sudden they just dominate a shift and then they get on the board. So I didn't see that. Maybe that's where my frustration is tonight with the top end guys. You're right. I mean, they do score on the power play. Nobody was bad. Obviously, defensively, there was no goals on 5-on-5 in the game. So somewhere somehow, it's a bad luck bounce on as a shorty. I would have liked again the demeanor to be a little bit better that power play because the first one they scored, this one they didn't look good and ended up costing them. But
Yeah.
also because of the help of a bad puck luck. I'm not
Yeah.
going to blame Kelly Sutherland. I mean the guy feels bad by any means. I'm not going to blame him. But yeah, I just kind of was expecting something else and maybe a little miracle play at the end, and we didn't get it. And, that's why I'm disappointed. I would have liked to get the run going and keep going. And again, you win tomorrow night, everything's all forgotten. It's all good.
I mean, two things can be true, right? You can have gotten bad luck, and you can also make your own bad luck a little bit. That power play was
Oh,
horrible.
yeah.
Terrible. No two ways about that power play being awful. Multiple unnecessary turnovers from the Avs.
Yeah.
They struggled to get set up in the zone at all. A better
Yeah.
power play, and there's never the opportunity for Kelly Sutherland to fall over and it be a problem. So
Yeah.
Both of those situations are fair to look at, I would say. And keep in mind, like, I don't think this balances the scales, but do keep in mind, Toronto did hit 3 posts in this game. Like, it's not like they got no chances. So
they did. And that's why I was saying, like, McKenzie, I'm not blaming McKenzie. McKenzie was great in the third period. I thought he found his groove. In the first 2 periods, he was okay. I mean, I didn't like his demeanor. I didn't like, it didn't cost him anything. That's not what I'm saying. Wall was feeling it, you know what I mean? Where McKenzie started to feel it in the third, you know what I mean? Again, you can only play the game that's in front. It's not like he was bombarded, but you're right. There was a few posts. He did get saved a couple times by the post. And, overall, this is by no means a goaltending problem tonight for the Avalanche. It's more a bad puck luck problem and a lack of finish, you know what I mean? Where they didn't, they didn't get through a wall, you know what I mean? WOLL, wall. That's my assessment of why they lost the game.
Is lack of finish even the right word tonight? Because, again, there have been times this year where the Avs have lacked finish. Not arguing that. Was tonight lack of finish, or was it just getting goalied?
Well, a little bit of both, right? I mean, if you're not scoring, it's a lack of finish, right? In my definition,
sure. That's fine.
But yeah, well, I mean, he made some good saves. I mean, Nelson down the pipe by himself. I thought Wall was confident. I was hoping for a weird bounce, you know what I mean? Like it goes off a couple skates and goes in, because he was squared to the puck and it just didn't feel that he was going to give up anything. And I was right. I mean, obviously, he only scored one, and that's the one that Val kind of pops there on that slot there and the pass from McKinnon. But yeah, a little bit of both. I mean, two things can be right. They got goalied a little bit, but they didn't finish, and maybe they could have been a little greasier, a little bit, whatever it is that you have to do to muck it up to get more to the middle, you know what I mean, and get some scoring chances that way. Again, you're going to say, but they got 40 shots on that. I mean, they must have something. So they did. Yeah, somehow they did. It just wasn't enough in a sense that the goalie was seeing it, and, he made some big saves, and you got to give him credit. Absolutely.
All right. I'm not saying the Avs weren't trying to win. They were obviously trying to win. Again, I thought they were the better team on the underlines for the first 2 periods of this hockey game. How much of the line combos for Jared Bednar tonight were, I feel like guys aren't going, I'm trying to get them going tonight, and how much of it was, let me have a look. Let me see what we can try and do in case I need to switch some things up in the playoffs?
I think it was more of that, what you just said. I don't think it's because Necas and Lecky and, again, you just been on the run 8-0-1. Somewhere, somehow, things were pretty good, right? You know what I mean? So I think you have a few shifts here in the first where, I don't remember what the score was, 0-0, I believe, after the first, right? So,
yep.
Right? 0-0. Yeah, 0-0. So it's not like you were in trouble. And I think it was more what you just think, like, let me look and see what that looks like. Let me look and see. And he had warned it a few, maybe 10 days ago, whatever it was, that he said, yeah, maybe we'll be, tinkering with some stuff because we have to see what we have. We have to see what works. And there's a bunch of different players, new players. So maybe we'll see. So I don't think it was more disappointment tonight. I think it was more about trying something else. I'm not sure if he answered it in his presser or not. Like we're doing ours right now, so we're not really listening to the presser. But that's what I think they were trying to do. I think it was more different looks, different situations, different see where guys fit and if it could work. I thought it was okay. I wasn't in love with it. And that would be my assessment tonight. If I had to grade it, I'd be like, yeah, no, go back to your original stuff.
Fair enough. I don't have too much of an argument there. Again, it feels a little weird because I don't really see a situation playing out where you ever want to put McKinnon and Nelson together with your lack of center depth. And honestly, it kind of showed. in a lot of ways, Bednar just shortened the bench because of that tonight. None of your fourth line players ended up hitting even the 10-minute mark. So Kelly was the closest at 9 minutes. Logan only played 8. Kiviranta only played 7:30. So sure, in short-term spurts, that's fine, but I don't know that the Avs can afford to go back to shortening their bench in that way. Back end was a little bit tough too, and I get it's a close game. That comes into some effect of it, but Makar plays 27 minutes tonight. Your bottom guys, EJ and Malinsky, barely hit 15. Your second pairing, 16 and 17. So the time on ice usage felt a little bit top heavy, which some of that happens, but the Avs had been doing a pretty good job over this last stretch of evening out that time on ice. I don't know. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, he didn't look at key number 2 before the pregame, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Time on ice spread. Use that like a sandwich spread. Spread it out, that TOI. It's worked tonight. They were chasing a little bit because they fell behind in the second. And, that's probably where the ice time is. But again, remember we were like looking at where's the cat? We haven't seen him for a bit. You know what I mean? And, I feel the Avalanche. I like the way their 4 lines are. Not tonight, like meaning the start of the game. I do believe they'll find success that way because it's well balanced. It's built down the middle. And I like the way the ice time was the last few games. You know what I mean? And even though Logan and Parker and Jack, for example, did not get 20 minutes of ice time, they against Dallas, I do believe they got 10 minutes or whatever it was, but there were some good minutes. There were some heavy minutes against Mikko's line or things like that. You know what I mean? So I think you can feel part of it, and you can use that ice time where no one is playing. What did McKinnon get tonight? You just said 20. I didn't look.
23 and change. Yeah.
Okay, that's not that bad. And again,
Makar
you're on a
was the
back-to-back.
right side on 27, but yeah.
Yeah, so you're on a back-to-back, and you're on a 3 and 4. Yeah, they just had 2 days off. Meaning 1 day off of practice yesterday. But I don't know. Somewhere somehow you're I like the time on ice spread. I think it will suit you well in the playoffs. It will suit you well down the stretch, and I just wish I wouldn't but I understand it what they did. I just wish that I didn't see it, because for me it didn't help out at all. I would have liked to keep going with that stretch of 8-0-1 and keep going that, especially the last 3-4 games. I like the way they were, again, I'm using his word, deploying guys and the way the rhythm of the games were. And I understand this was a different one because they fell behind. They haven't really fell behind in many games lately.
Minnesota game's really the only one.
Yeah.
Dallas, they technically gave up the first goal, but got it back reasonably quickly.
Or even Toronto, what was it early? They were down 2-0, if I'm trying to remember, but and they got back. But anyway. But what I'm saying is they really haven't been chasing the game, and if you're chasing, then I like the fact that you got 4 lines chasing, instead of just kind of what I didn't like the combos tonight. I didn't like it.
Yeah, it wasn't my favorite either. And if they're trying stuff, fine. And really,
fine.
again,
I'm okay with it.
You cannot like it, but 39 shots on goal is still 39 shots on goal. It's not like the Avs were getting cooked in this game by any stretch of the imagination. So, yes, you need to score more than 1 goal to win games. Sure, absolutely. But these don't feel like the losses where teams are running away from the Avs. These are losses where the Avs are 1 play away, and they couldn't make that play happen tonight. But I don't know. I'm just struggling to be upset with this one. 1 more good bounce, 1 more small play, and it's a tie game at worst. It's a weird one. I'll put it to you that way. Anyway,
for sure.
we can keep going through some of the steps of this game here. I guess my question is, and this is a thing that multiple teams have done to the Avs. Toronto tended to cherry pick a good bit in this game. We've seen Dallas
Yeah.
do this in the past to the Avs too. Is there a read out there? Teams know how aggressive Avs defensemen are. Can the Avs fix that, or do the Avs just accept that as part of their play, where that's going to happen sometimes?
No, I think it just does happen, and that's okay. And again, you're getting look no further than tonight. What they give up in the first period, four shots, whatever it was. I mean, that's so their systems work. You know what I mean? And I always say there's two teams on the ice, and when you're talking about the Leafs, there's a lot of firepower there. So at some point, they feel that maybe by cherry picking a guy, maybe gives them a chance to, like you said. Because they activate their D's all the time. Maybe it gives them the chance to catch them sleeping a little bit, and they get it. But it didn't end up costing the
Yeah,
Avalanche tonight.
right.
I mean, it didn't. A couple times, but again, guys caught up, and it was what it was. But yeah, there's certainly a way that they feel that. Obviously, it was a pattern tonight. You could tell that we're trying to do something like that. But then at the end of the day, again, if I'm the Avalanche, I worry about myself. I don't worry about what the oppositions do, and then you just got to make sure that you're weary, of what's going on behind you. And if they want to play that way, then no, so be it. Then more often than none, the Avalanche, like you said, 39 shots on goal. They were present. They were not worried about that play being caught behind them, and next thing you know, the pressure was working, and the offensive ability of the players that are out there to make plays and to not get caught. And they're all good skaters. Maybe EJ a little slower at his age right now, but EJ was still good tonight. I mean, I'm talking about of trying to retrieve and get the guys behind you. Lost behind you. So yeah, I don't mind when teams do that. I actually like it because I think it benefits the Avalanche.
All right, I'm good with that take on it.
Yeah.
We do have to pay some more bills though, so let's jump in and do that before we step into the next conversation here, as we are, of course, presented by the delicious chicken fingers of Raising Cane's. You can go get their craveable box combo. Make your craveable box combo dreams come true over at Raising Cane's, where every chicken finger is hand battered and cooked to order just for you. They've got thick sliced Texas toast. Got it brushed in the Cane's garlic butter too. Mwah. Delicious. They got it griddled to perfect golden brown. Of course, you can get the coleslaw, and the best part is the sauce. Let's be honest. We all know the sauce is where it's at Raising Cane's. The secret recipe cane sauce is made in restaurant every single day, making the full box combo so special for you. So jump in. You can get their crinkle cut fries too to go in that sauce. Get your box combo today and make your craveable dreams a reality. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love. Once you got your chicken fingers, you're feeling good, tasting good, make sure you're also got the right drinks to go with it. And that is an ice cold Coors Light. Go get with them. The mountains turn blue on the bottle or the can to let you know it's ice cold and ready to drink. Choose chill today with Coors Light. Whether you're out in the back grilling, whether you're watching an Avs game where they get a lot of bad bounces, whether you're watching the Avs win. Either way, Coors Light, the beer perfect for the occasion, whatever you might be doing. The coolest part about it is you don't even have to get up off your couch. You can get Coors Light delivered right to your front door thanks to Coors Light at .com/DNVR and Instacart. So make your life easy. Of course, are readily available in pretty much every liquor store in the country. Coors Light's everywhere. They are locally brewed here in Colorado too. So why not jump in? Why not have a good time with Coors Light? Why not choose chill today? Again, highly recommend. If you haven't had a Coors, you see me drinking them on the watch longs. Always a good time there. It's cold filtered and cold packaged also. So, smoother finish because it's always ice cold and good for you. When you embrace a chill mindset, it's a good time to choose chill and crack open a Coors Light. Of course, choose chill this spring. It's not spring yet, is it? Right? Not till like tomorrow or the 21st.
Day. Yeah,
One more day? Yeah, almost spring. You can choose chill this spring starting tomorrow or something and reach for a Coors Light. Again, CoorsLight.com/DNVR to get it delivered. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. I want you to put your player cap on for this one.
Yep.
Your player in the locker room after that game, what's the conversation like?
Hold on. This is how they do it now,
yeah.
right?
There you go. Put it backwards.
They go like, that's how they do it now. What's the conversation tonight? Oh, man. Yeah. You know what? It's very quick, very very quick tonight. It's first of all, let's go. We're packing up. We're going to Ottawa. So it's a
Sure.
short flight
Quick
there.
turnaround. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, you know what? Honestly, it's so like quick after a game. Coach will sneak through in there, talk for maybe 15 seconds. And then the guys maybe have like less than 5 minutes before the media gets in there, that you're on tape. And then, a couple guys will say a couple things. And on a night like tonight, it was very simple. It's like what Chat's saying, hey, onward, let's move on to the next one. Wasn't that bad. We didn't score on our chances. We all know, we got to be a little bit better that way. We got to be sharp on our power play. We can't give up a shorty. We all know that the referee obviously feels bad about it, but all in all, like if we lose one every 9 games, we're in great shape. We're going to win the Stanley Cup, right? I mean, because if you lose one every 9 games until the end of the year, you're Stanley Cup champs. You know what I mean? Like 100%. So
All right.
I'm not good at math, but so it's very simple. And then you get undressed, you get on the plane, you move on, and then you go to bed. And tomorrow morning, Ottawa. Rink's pretty far, probably staying downtown, so I'm not even going to go skate. I'll just have a meeting at the hotel, go over their
Yep.
stuff. This is what the Senators are. See you at the rink at 5 o'clock, whatever it is. We'll go over the rest of the stuff and move on.
So keep your player hat on.
Yeah.
How does that conversation change if this was game one of the playoffs?
Well, game one of the playoffs, then it would be like, okay, guys, you know what I mean? Like, overall, it wasn't that bad. You know what I mean? Maybe we have another notch. We can, you know what I mean, press down the issue on not fall asleep for a couple battles here and there, especially on the power play, right? We all know that every shift counts, every second counts. Um, but all in all, like you would feel pretty good about your game, and still, like you said, that's why you play 4 out of 7. You know what I mean? And that's you can't ride those emotions, highs and lows, and we nitpick on this because that's what we do after a game. We have a podcast to talk about this for an hour, but those guys are goldfish memory. I mean, you got to move on and take away. That's the coach's jobs, right? The next day to take away what was good, take away the bad stuff, and then you got to remember the next night in the playoffs, you're playing the same opponent, where this is regular season, it's a little different. Now you're like, okay, you're not rested, but Ottawa's rested. And, you're going in there, you're traveling, you're not going to bed at 11 o'clock at night. Again, it's an easy back to back. It's a short little flight, but you're still looking at probably 1 in the morning, till you're in bed and decompress. And, I mean, it's a high passion, high emotion game. And, it's hard to go to bed after a game sometimes, you know what I mean? So you gotta just kind of breathe a little bit. And that's why, like, I don't know how those guys do it now with my player cap on right now. Like,
Yep.
guys, they get their own rooms. I'd be like, I'd go see the coach. I'd be like, man, I don't want my own room. I need a roommate. I need to hang out tonight, watch a little TV and chat. I don't want to be by myself. I'll be up all night. So this new NHL rules, though, where they get their own rooms after whatever it is, a certain amount of games, it's crazy to me. I would be the guy looking and say, hey, listen, I know I've been around the league for a long time. I don't want my own room. I want a roomie. Rudo's coming in with me, and Rudo would be like, no, no, no. But it's all good. Yeah. Player hat on. I
I
think
know
you
you
just move
snore,
on.
buddy.
Then,
I know you
yeah,
snore.
I know. A little bit, a little bit. Not much, but just a little bit. But I can put a
uh,
pillow in my face and quiet.
all right. Flip the hat back around.
Yeah, sir.
Go back to your video coach hat.
Yes, sir.
Is there really a lot of video to pull tonight? I really don't know how much the Avs are going to dig into a game like this.
No, I think what they'll do is, again, you got to move on. That's why it's a different opponent. You move on from the Leafs, right? Now you move on to the Senators. So what you'll take tonight is probably show 5, 6 clips tomorrow of, how you created some chances that will be working against the Senators. You know what I mean? For
Sure.
example, because the way the Senators play, they play this way, and maybe off of a one face off. You know what I mean? We can use that play here because this is how they use a guy on the wall, like a D on the wall, and you know what I mean. You take advantage of that if we can just do that like we did tonight. This will give us opportunities. They're not very good on the rush. Here's a couple rush chances we got tonight. Even though I don't believe they got a lot of rush chances. But I'm just saying, just giving you an example. And that's kind of how you mix in, because you got to remember, it's back to back. There's only so many. And again, their attention span is so small. You go and throw a video in there for 20 minutes, guys would be their attention span is really short, just like, not banging. It's true. And
Yeah.
it's just like, you got to get to the point, show a few clips, move on. This is what they do. And then you're really concentrating on Ottawa. And this is who their power play is. This is how they work on the power play. So then you have the power play meetings, the PK meeting. So you're not taking a lot from tonight. You're just taking a little bit and addressing a couple things that you would have liked done better. And you move on to the next opponent and go, because you don't have time to wait. And next thing you know, you lose tomorrow night. You're like, oh my God, they've lost 2 in a row. You know what I mean? And then that's when it starts like being negative and like, oh God, good teams don't lose 2 in a row. So go out there tomorrow and all's forgotten about tonight.
Fair enough. A mantra of the Avs season. Like, if we're being honest, the Avs are one of the best teams in the league on Sega Babas. They've kind of been bad at the first half of back-to-backs this year. Is there something underlying to that, or is it just a weird coincidence?
What was that part? Sorry, you said the.
They've been the best team in the league at that second half of back-to-backs, but they've kind of played fairly poorly on the first half this year.
Yeah, I don't know why. They're dynamite on the back-to-back. You know what I mean? And it's weird. It's certainly, especially the way some guys have had a lot of ice time sometimes on the first night because they're not at their best and they're chasing the game, and guys are like Kale tonight at 27 minutes, whatever it is. And then the next night you would think, that there would be a no-show, but they actually feel good the second night around. I don't know. I'm hoping that's the case we see tomorrow. I'm hoping that's the case that we see with the Avalanche in the playoffs coming up. But like I said, it's so different than the playoffs right now because tomorrow is a different opponent. Like I said, that's well rested. Where the Avalanche are coming in there, it's not an even playing field. You know what I mean? But they do seem to thrive. They do seem to pressure themselves to, and I'm telling you, and that's what was said. You asked me earlier, like after the game, for sure. It's like, hey guys, back at it tomorrow because we don't lose 2 games in a row. And this is not, it's not a cliche. We don't lose 2 games in a row. It's an important fact that it's an important piece of message that has to be going through the locker room from the coaches to the players to the new guys coming in. This is how we work around it. We don't lose 2 in a row. And it's been a message for years to come, and it's such an important message if you want to have prolonged success in the playoffs. And obviously, the Avalanche they agree with that method, they agree with that philosophy, and I think maybe that's why on a back-to-back, the Avalanche are dynamite because especially if they lose the first one, they're always ready to go that second one.
I'm just running through it here. I probably missed some back-to-backs, so I was running through it quickly. But on the front half of back-to-backs, the Avs are just 5-4 this year. On the back halves, they are 4-4, with the 9th game coming tomorrow, obviously. So pretty much the same record on the second game as the first game. So a bit of a weird season.
Should be. That's what I mean. Yeah, it should be the opposite, right? You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it should be.
But if they're finding ways to split them at worst, I'm not going to complain too much about how it happens. Ultimately, it is they're finding a way to get done what they need to get done. And part of the reason I'm not thinking too much about this loss is if we have our 10-game stretch, last 10 games ready, the Avs came into this game 8-1-1 in their last 10 games, and they will leave this game 8-1-1 in their last 10 games. You lose 1 game in regulation every 10 games, you'll be all right. You're doing just fine at that pace. And the other side of it is, look at this scoring pace. 2 games with only 1 goal there, sure, whatever. The Minnesota game, there was some context there. It was back-to-back itself, and they were clearly exhausted at the end of a 3-4. But 5-5, 4-7, 7, 3, 4, 4. The Avs are scoring just fine. It just didn't go in for them tonight. The opposing goalie played well tonight. And that includes 4 goals against Dallas. That's a high-end playoff team. 7 goals against Toronto, against who was supposed to be their number 1 starter at the moment in Stellars, whereas Woll is the one who stoned them. There's a plenty of goal-scoring track record over the past month where it does not feel like the Avs are in that inconsistent scoring slump that they were earlier in the year.
No, not at all. Not at all. And there's a reason for that, and that's why because they're well balanced and guys are slotted in the right place. And we talked about that, and we talked about Parker Kelly being a winger, not a centerman. Where he's thrived more on the wing. And that's why I just wish that we'll see tomorrow. That you go back
Yep.
to those same lines and same pattern and same feeling good about yourselves as a line as a unit. Again, do you see some fresh bodies tomorrow? We just talked about it earlier. I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. We don't know. We don't have a crystal ball. Would you put some fresh bodies in there? I would. It's on a back to back, and some guys need to play a little bit down the stretch here.
Yeah.
We got to. Jimmy, played 1 or 2 games right so far, and he was good. And who knows what he can do? Miles, it's more like he's in the doghouse, so to speak, because he hasn't
Yeah.
performed well. And but again, give him a chance to see if he can go and be a dog out there tomorrow. And if he's not, then you go back to Chateau Bow Wow a little bit, right? You know what I mean? And that's okay. Go in the doghouse and go back. Until again, that's what internal competition does. But we shall see what it brings, and we shall see what they decide to do with the lineup tomorrow. But it'll be an interesting topic for sure tomorrow in pregame, for sure.
It's a good point because we were just talking about, hey, all of this mixed up lineup stuff is maybe some of Bednar experimenting and seeing what he has. Well, yeah, he also needs to see what he has in a VC or
Yeah.
Wood. I think that's a little bit less the case, but sure, if you want to throw
Yeah.
his name in there as well. Unfortunately, the defenseman conversation isn't quite as complicated with Manson out. I feel like you are pretty comfortable with what Keaton Middleton is, so there's not really a whole lot to experiment with there. But if you want fresh legs, whatever. I'm not
Sure.
going to nitpick those decisions all that much one way or another. It is worth noting Minnesota is very likely on their way to a win tonight. Currently up 3-0 on Seattle after the first. That would bring Minnesota to within 2 points of the Avs with a loss tonight. So that fight for the third seed in the West, or in the Central rather, is still very much on. I understand the players are trying to win every game they play. The coach is trying to win every game they play. They're not too worried about seeding and standings and all of that. Is anyone in that front office thinking about maybe they'd like to be the first wild cardy, or is that just not even coming across anybody's mind?
No, I don't think it's coming across anybody's mind. I know a lot of those guys there in the front office, and it's for me, it's never been about that. I think you do your best, you do what's best for you, and you let the chips fall where they fall, and then you look and see who your opponent is. If you're trying to figure it out and try to fall behind because you think that you're better off, it usually bites you in the butt. It just does. So I don't believe the Avalanche are trying to do any of that. I think the Avalanche are trying to be going to the playoffs feeling the best about their game, where it's at in all facets of the game. From goaltending to special teams to 5-on-5 to the defensive side of the puck to the creating offensive side of chances to rush chances to all that analytics that they use to see where they measure where they're at. So I'm pretty confident that those guys are just trying to see what brings them after game 82 where they are, and that's who you play. I don't believe there'll be any of that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? There's too many different variances, and it's such a slippery slope when you start doing that. And I don't think anybody in the National Hockey League does that, to be honest with you.
I would agree, but it's a conversation that does come
Oh,
up quite a bit.
100%. For sure.
Alrighty, a question for you. Since the
Yep.
trade deadline, who is the Avs' leading scorer?
Since the trade deadline, so we're talking about what, 5-6 games?
Yeah, 6 games including tonight.
Kale, when he had a 6.9, was that after the trade deadline? I'm trying to remember.
Right before. It was right before.
Oh, I was gonna say that it's probably him. Man, oh man, is it Val?
No. It is Val. Val has 8
Val,
points in the last 6 games.
Yep.
McKinnon at a
There
point
you
per
go.
game pace. McCarr and Colton both have 5 in the last 6. Val also leading the actual goal scoring. 6 goals in 6 games for Val. Obviously, there's a hat trick in there, but
Yep.
producing in that regard. So while Nichushkin's point streak for the Avs did come to an end tonight, while maybe you didn't love some of his play in the third period, he did score their only goal on the power play tonight.
Oh no, I like this game. I didn't like
No,
a
I know,
couple
I
of the
know.
shifts at the end. I wasn't I was just being hard on him, like because we weren't getting that superstar play, right? You know what I mean? Like, and
Yep,
then I was like, oh, maybe we get a play from Val being a dog on the boards, and it just didn't happen.
yep.
Give it a cat.
He continues to be a critical piece. Kiviranta, 3 points in the 6 games. Druin, 3 points. Necas, 3 points. Plenty of guys that are producing. I,
Yep.
if you're looking for guys that are maybe on the little bit of a lower side, guys you might need a little bit more out of, Nelson only has 2 points in the 6 games. I don't think that's as bad as it looks. Nelson does a lot of small things. We talked about his screen he had the other night on Val's
Yeah.
goal. Coyle, just 1 point in 6 games now.
Yep.
It's not
Need
horrible.
more. Need more.
He's a third line center. He's also +4. Like there's a lot of good effort there, but you do need to produce at a little bit of a level.
Yep.
Drury just 1 point. LOC just 1 point. So, and to be clear, it's an assist for Coyle, Drury, and O'Connor. No goals out of those 3 as some of your depth guys.
Yeah.
You do probably need guys to put the puck in the back of the net just a smidge more. I'm not desperate. This is not like the end of January where the Avs were getting literally no production out of their depth. You probably just need a squidge more goal scoring out of your depth. You saw the LOC fans on a partial break tonight. Plays like that, it's where you need just a little bit more.
And that's the difference tonight, right? Or else you'd
Yep.
score more than one. You know what I mean? And if it was that easy, then they'd score 10 a night. Nobody says it's easy. Do I feel good? Do I think that tomorrow they come back and score more than one? Absolutely. So yeah, You're right. I mean, the stats are there, and I'm gonna keep saying my line. You gotta challenge yourself to produce. You just do. You cannot just go out there and but we won. Yeah, I know, but you gotta produce. You know what I mean? Especially in a game like tonight. Uh, I mean, again, it's that pattern. When you have score one goal, they lose, right? I mean, it's just been that pattern for a while now.
Yep,
Like, you
it's
know what I
true.
mean? That's, so you have to get that fire. You have to get that desire, that hunger to really help out and not just go and, score one and then go 20 dormant. You know what I mean? It just, you got to, I mean, I'm sorry. Like I told you before, I got no sympathy for that in the sense that if you're getting ice time, if you're not getting ice time, I understand that. But if you're getting 10 minutes of ice, that's plenty. That's plenty to challenge yourself to get out there and do something.
Look, I know it's a bad bounce and everything, but
Yeah.
Leafs top guys scored a power play goal. Your top guys scored a power play goal. The shorty comes
Yeah.
from Steven Lorenz and Simone Benoit for Toronto.
Yeah.
It's their depth guys that ultimately scored the game-winning goal of this game.
And Kelly Sutherland.
And yeah, primary assist to Kelly Sutherland. But
God, I feel bad
that's
for
like
him. Oh.
I don't. I feel
Poor
bad
guy.
for the Avs. That's stupid.
I know. Poor guy. He toe picked. I was like, oh my God. Terrible. Bad luck. Bad luck. Bad luck.
Yep. Look, I
But
said it on the
referees, they
live.
do like.
If that's going to happen to you, let it happen to you on March 19th, not April 19th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Playoff game. That's not fun. Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, again, they feel so bad. Those referees, man, they do. I mean, Kelly was just probably like, oh God. You know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those moments. It's just bad luck. It's all good. It happens.
Not going to overthink that one too much.
No.
Toronto's probably a better team than what the Avs are about to play in Ottawa, but don't make any mistake with this next game. This Ottawa team's in the playoff hunt. They're going to be fighting hard. They made some, I don't know if I'll say additions, but certainly some changes to their lineup at the deadline. Obviously, we'll have our pregame tomorrow, but what do you expect out of Ottawa?
Well, I expect the Ottawa Senators to come out like angry dogs because I felt yesterday, I watched a game against Montreal. They should have that game slipped away from the Senators. It looked like Montreal was dead out of the water. I mean, they were just like not good, not in a good spot. And then Hudson makes that play, and next thing you know, they're taking the lead and never look back. But it got away from the Senators. It was a playoff atmosphere, craziness in Montreal yesterday. Everybody chanting after the game. So they're playing playoff type games right now. You call that being in the mix and meaningful games, and which is important for the Avalanche to play those types of games, because this is how the playoffs are going to be. So tonight, you don't obviously pass the test whenever you lose a game. You lost the game. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you felt good, you got 39 shots and all that stuff. You lost on the scoreboard. So you got to come up tomorrow and be ready to go. And you better be ready to compete. You better be ready to bring that passion up a level. This is going to be crazy tomorrow. Ottawa feels that it's a big game for them. Obviously, every game is big, but if you don't have that passion tomorrow, if you don't have that intensity, that playoff kind of third, fourth gear, then it's gonna be a tough night. You know what I mean? It's gonna be a tough night for you. So, I mean, let's go back. Goldfish memory to last night, which is tonight, is over. Get ready. Stay ready in the morning. Obviously, get over a couple things. You probably won't skate. Like I said to you, the rink is so far down the highway,
Yeah,
and they're probably
it's
staying
out there.
downtown, so they're not going to get out there and skate. Only the scratches or the Gabes of the world and stuff like that. So, but be ready to go and come flying. I mean, you just had 2 days off. You should be fresh. It's not a tough back to back. Like, it's probably a 25-minute flight, 20-minute flight. So it's not that bad. And be ready to go tomorrow and expect a battle, a dogfight, because that team is in a dogfight. You know what I mean? Obviously, since the trade deadline, they've been good with that Josh Norris trade and Cousins, and they win games until last night. That one got away from them last night, so they're going to be ready to go. And they know that the Avalanche is a good team. They know that the Avalanche are a tough test for them, but they're going to be ready for it. So I expect the Avalanche to do the same thing and be ready and make it a dogfight out there for sure.
Hey, look, we know the Avs are never an easy out. I do think it is worth noting both of their last two losses have been 1-goal games.
Yeah.
They only gave up 2 goals. One of those is a shootout loss. They really only gave up 1 goal in that game. This one, they only give up 2 goals, and they're both nonsensical bounces. Arguably, since the deadline, this game is actually the game they gave up the most shots on goal in, and that's only 26. You gotta tip the cap a little bit to the Avs. They are a very difficult team to create offense against right now. Sure, they weren't able to finish tonight either, but this is not the Avs only scored 1 goal and the game got away from them. This is Toronto had to earn it tonight, and even beyond earn it, they had to get some good bounces. Otherwise, maybe we're talking about a different story if the Avs get a better bounce or Toronto misses on a good bounce. So, compared to where we were, 12 games ago now? Immediately after the break, the February break for Four Nations, where I was about ready to melt down on this team.
Yeah.
Completely different world. And this is 3, 4, not even a month later. The Avs have pushed themselves in the right direction in a hurry, and I'm not going to let a game that went the way this one did change my opinion on that. So
no, not at all. Not at all. But I think I'd be nice tomorrow, like somebody's talking about Mac going off. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I
you
feel
need a
we're
little
due
bit
for
of
a
that.
little Mac going off. And then I feel that, you go back to a little bit of the lines you've seen. And, I do feel that you're expecting probably Wedgwood in the net tomorrow. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Obviously 3 and 4. So I'm assuming Wedgwood would be in there. So that's a fresh body. Maybe we'll see different bodies in there. Who knows? But I do expect the Avalanche to come out flying and to respond. And they better be ready, or else it's going to be a tough night. It's going to be a tough night if they're not ready. That's for sure.
No doubt. We are headed into overtime here. If you're watching on one of the televisions style networks that provide us, you are going to have to jump over to online at DNVR.com where the conversation will continue. Come hang out and chat. So we appreciate those of you who are hanging out and chat. Come join. Should be a fun time. We'll continue online, as I said. Okay. I have one question for you here. And I don't think it's a particularly meaningful question, more just one I'm curious about. We saw for a significant portion of this game, Jonathan Drouin was the winger dropped to the third line. What do you think the Avs' best winger deployment is? Not today, but game one of the playoffs. How do you think the Avs' top 5 wingers get deployed?
For me, it's very simple. It's Necas and Lehkonen with Mac. I think it's Drouin with Val, and I do believe it's we're at 4 now. You're asking me to go to 5 or 6.
Yeah. 5 is fine. They're
again,
very clear. Some third and fourth liners, but
I mean, obviously, what's his name there, Colton. And is it Kibby? Is it, I don't know. Again, there's a question mark with Gabe. Is it Jimmy Vesey? We'll see. I think there's a little bit of wiggling room there. I think whoever can slot in that room can be fine. Not room, that slot, that obviously wing slot can be fine. So we'll see what happens. There's a lot to, there's a lot of auditions left. And for me, you're only as good as your last game, right? You know what I mean? And that's how it works. And that's what competition does. Show me what you got or else you won't be in there. And I like that attitude. And I like that, it's really brought the floor up, lately for the Avalanche forwards.
The Denver Double's looking rough tonight. The Nuggets are currently getting absolutely smoked by the Lakers. So if nothing else, at least you can say the Avs kept it close. I do think we have at least one super chat to get to here. So let's hit that, and then we can wrap up the show. $14 from the incredible Drew, who says, when you play well, hard to win when 2 brutal bounces end up in your net. Get all the bad hockey god luck gone in the next 13 prep games, and then let the boys roll. Yeah, again, 2 things can be true. I really am not super sure what the Avs can do better on those plays. Even the first goal, it's a good defensive stick by Taves to deny the puck where it's supposed to be going to, which is the guy to the net front, and it just ramps off his stick in the wrong way and ends up in the net. Like, even that one's tough. And then the ref one is some made up BS, dude. I don't even know what to say about that one. That's just crazy nonsense. And at the same time,
bad luck.
At the same time, you only scored 1 goal. You only scored 1 goal. And is it a great shot on that second one? Sure. That's also Steven Lorentz. Maybe you expect Blackwood to make a save on a guy like that.
I would have liked a little bit more aggressive there. And again, I'm not blaming him tonight. He was fine, but that one I didn't like. I didn't like the whole thing. Just didn't like the 20, 30 seconds before the goal. Didn't like that it hit the ref. I didn't like the way he just kind of was flattening in that.
I'm not blaming Blackwood at all, but you didn't get a superstar play from your forwards tonight. So you kind of needed a superstar play out of your goalie.
Yep.
Is what it is. Yep.
He knows it.
Yep. And again, it's not that he played poorly tonight.
No.
You just want to find ways to win. That's all. Anyway, this is take a picture, chat. This is the last time you're going to see the beard this long.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The beard is gone.
Beard's getting shaved tonight, so it is what it is. We are going to wrap things up here, though. We appreciate everybody hanging out and enjoying life, even if the Avs aren't perfect and can't win them all. They're right back at it tomorrow, so you can forget about it quick if they come through and do their job. We appreciate all y'all hanging out one last time, and we're back tomorrow. Same time, same place, same stuff. Pre-game, watch-along, post-game. This has been the DNVR Avalanche post-game presented by Bet365.
We all silly like the mayor.